The blank is the system that is in charge of breaking down the food we eat into a form that can be absorbed by our cells. Is it A, respiratory system, B, circulatory system, C, digestive system, or D, excretory system? The answer is C, digestive system. Our cells need energy to work and raw materials to make into things that our body needs. We get all these from the nutrients in our food. However, the food that we eat can't just be shoved into our cells. They need to be broken down into very small bits and transformed into molecules that our cells are able to accept. This is the role of our digestive system. The respiratory system, on the other hand, is in charge of getting the oxygen that we need. The circulatory system transports the oxygen and nutrients to our cells and picks up waste products for elimination, and the excretory system is in charge of getting rid of those waste products. Again, the system that is in charge of breaking down food into absorbable nutrients is our digestive system. What type of digestion is the process of physically breaking down the food we eat into smaller pieces? It is also known as physical digestion. Is it A, chemical digestion, B, mechanical digestion, C, cellular digestion, or D, indigestion? Well, the answer obviously isn't indigestion. But first of all, what is digestion? Digestion is the process of breaking down the food we eat into a form that can be absorbed by our cells. This involves two separate processes, mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. Mechanical digestion involves making the food smaller and smaller and smaller. Obviously, it begins in the mouth as we chew our food. For example, if we take a bite of fried chicken, obviously that bite won't fit into our cells. But it's our cells that need the nutrients that are in the fried chicken. So what our body does is it makes it smaller and smaller and smaller. But it's not enough that we end up with very tiny bits of fried chicken. That still won't get through the walls of our intestines, into our blood, and into our cells. That's where chemical digestion comes in. Chemical digestion involves changing the actual chemical structure of the food into a form that can go through our cell membranes. So, for example, from a bite of fried chicken, which might include breadcrumbs as well as the chicken meat itself, enzymes break down the carbohydrates in the breadcrumbs into glucose, and the protein in the chicken meat into amino acids. Our cells can then use the glucose for energy and the amino acids for making other proteins that our body needs, such as antibodies and hormones. So, digestion involves both mechanical and chemical digestion, and that part of digestion where the food is physically broken down into very tiny pieces is called mechanical digestion. An enzyme is a protein that speeds up chemical reactions in the body. Digestive enzymes play a huge role in which type of digestion? Is it A, mechanical digestion, B, chemical digestion, C, both, or D, neither? Okay, so the first thing we need to know is, what is mechanical digestion and what is chemical digestion? We need to know so that we can tell if enzymes are involved in one of them or both of them or none of them. Mechanical digestion is the process of breaking down the food we eat into smaller and smaller pieces. It is purely physical. It doesn't involve chemical changes. There is only a change in size. For example, if you eat fried chicken, by the end of mechanical digestion, it's still chicken, just very, very, very tiny. Chemical digestion, on the other hand, involves changing the actual chemical structure of our food into a form that can be absorbed by our intestines. The chicken, for example, is acted upon by digestive juices in the stomach and intestines, such that by the end of chemical digestion, it's no longer chicken, and instead has been thoroughly broken down into a bunch of amino acids and minerals and whatnot. So, are enzymes involved in mechanical digestion? No, because mechanical digestion doesn't involve chemical processes, it's purely physical. That means the answer isn't letter A or letter C. Are enzymes involved in chemical digestion? Definitely. They are the ones that carry out the chemical changes. In fact, many of what we call digestive juices are enzymes, and you can tell they're enzymes because they usually end in ase. For example, lipases act on lipids, proteases act on proteins. The protein in your chicken will have been acted on by enzymes such as pepsin and several proteases and turn into amino acids by the end of the process of digestion. So, the answer to this question is B, chemical digestion. Which of these statements about digestive enzymes is incorrect? A. Protease breaks down proteins. B. Lipase breaks down fats. C. Carbohydratase breaks down carbohydrates. Or D. None. All are correct. Let's look at these statements one by one. Do proteases break down proteins? Yes, they do. They do this by snapping the peptide bonds that join amino acids together in proteins. So, letter A is correct. Do lipases break down fats? Actually, they do. Lipases are the enzymes in charge of breaking down fats and other lipids. So, letter B is also correct. Do carbohydratases break down carbohydrates? Well, proteins are broken down by proteases and lipids are broken down by lipases. That makes sense, right? However, there is no such thing as carbohydratases. Enzymes that break down carbohydrates include amylase, which acts on starch, maltase, which converts maltose to glucose, sucrase, which splits sucrose into glucose and fructose, and lactase, which breaks down lactose into glucose and galactose. The incorrect statement is letter C.